Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to games set in the HORUS Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and what an absolute treat we have for you today. First game of the new year. I am joined by Paul and Anthony. G'day, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
AKA Dyson, is that right?
That is correct.
Preferring Dyson, okay, that's fine. Now, what a treat. Blood Angels, the first Blood Angel player on the channel. That's pretty cool.
Big cool. Yeah. It's been a while coming, I think, for you guys, but I'm quite pleased that I've been able to bring the Blood Angels along for you today.
Absolutely. We've been chatting to Dyson for quite a while because he's really close to the channel in Peterborough here, and I keep badgering him every week. Dyson, when are you going to get those Blood Angels painted? Come on, get on it. But we're finally here, so great stuff.
After a drunken night out, it was quite decided that I was going to get my arse in gear and really do some painting.
You caved into peer pressure.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. We had a few Jaegers that night, didn't we?
We did have a few Jaegers that night.
It was quite drunken. But, and we're joined by Paul as well. Paul, you're really local to the channel as well. You're in Peterborough too.
Yeah, live in Peterborough, so local club. It's just 5 minutes down the road for me.
Awesome stuff. So hopefully, if these guys enjoy themselves today, we might get a bit more out of them. So some more games in the future.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Fingers crossed.
Good. Now, let's talk about your beautiful, beautiful armies, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Paul, let's start with you. You've got a few commission pieces here, is that right?
Yes. In fairness, most of my army is commission painted. The Dreadnought is painted by the very, very talented Andy Wardle, so thank you very much for doing that. The rest of the army is done by Reese from Spartan Miniatures, who's amazing, really good, really talented. Absolutely brilliant job. In fact, the only unit that I can actually claim that I've actually painted are my Terminators at the front. So, yeah, I am at least bringing something that I have put a paint. I do own a paintbrush. It's not all commission painted.
But to be fair, though, the Terminators are a really high standard. It's just that you just haven't got a lot of time. Yeah,
they literally took me a year. I am thinking about doing an Instagram profile called #ThePaintingSnail. Yeah, I'm really, really slow.
I think you should. I think a lot of people want to see that.
All 4 updates over a 12-month period.
That's right. Amazing. Yeah. It'll be quite a high volume post. Dyson, you've bought some Blood Angels.
I have.
Got some cool conversions in this army.
There's quite a few actually. So I will just start with this is a Dread drop pod, which was converted by Siege Studio.
Red Eagle Studios.
Red Eagle.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about the brush I got the other day.
That's right.
So great job on this. And then I think we'll move on to Telemon, which is possibly my favourite. Pete, who plays the Space Wolves, that you'll see quite often on the channel, he had this great idea that we'd use Telemon. We love the filigree and all the gold. Really nice for the Blood Angels. And basically I paid for it, gave it to him, and he did a lovely job converting it for me. Yeah. So, and then I got it back, painted it, and sort of regretted the amount of filigree that I had to then paint.
It does look really cool though.
But yeah, and he is quite the monster. So
good. A lot of people are doing that, taking a lot of their Custodians, Dreadnoughts and bits and bobs and using them for other purposes. Andy, I know himself, used it as a Leviathan.
Yeah.
That looks pretty awesome. Actually played against a game with his Talmon, so his Leviathan looks pretty cool.
Very cool.
And Dyson as well, you get access to assault cannons.
Yes, so basically for Blood Angels, any sort of unit or vehicle that can take heavy flamer, we can swap out for a assault cannon. Now, obviously, it comes at a point's cost, but generally, point for point, I would take the assault cannons day in, day out purely for the rending, really. Yeah, so, good. The Deredeo has an assault cannon, unfortunately not modelled. We'll get to that one later. But the Leviathan here does have 2 assault cannons on his chest.
Yeah. It sits really nicely in those little recesses where the heavy flame with the heavy bolters would be. But
yeah, just literally cut down old plastic assault cannons, and they slot in quite nicely actually. So
yeah, it looks really cool.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Now a little bit about the mission we've got for you today. We are using one of the legendary battles from Book 1. Do you remember that book? 6 books ago.
long time ago.
6 books ago. Long time ago. But it's called The Death of Gods and Angels. And in this instance, Paul, you're the loyalist player, is that right?
I'm going to be the traitor player.
Sorry, traitor player.
We've actually flipped it round. In essence, it's an ambush mission from Book 1 where the traitors would be ambushing the loyalists, but we've sort of flipped it round. So I'm going to be the traitor player with an armoured convoy, and then Dyson, you're going to ambush me as the loyalist player.
I'll be deep striking in to upset his little convoy train.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what we've got... Yeah, so we've got like some sort of compound which the Night Lords are filing out of, and the mission actually it's played hammer and anvil style with a slightly smaller deployment. We're going to play across the length of the table with the
because that just works better to do that.
Yeah, because it just works a little bit more thematic. So we have changed it slightly. We've still retained the rules within the mission, which will...
Yeah, the only things that we're doing slightly differently is normally under this mission I wouldn't be able to use deep striking units, but Dyson has very graciously allowed me to deep strike my Terminators in, basically because I haven't got a transport for them, so fair play to you for doing that. Beyond that, we're not having night fighting on turn 1. We've agreed that we're not going to do that.
Yep.
No.
And our rationale behind that, because obviously night fighting favours Night Lords, but our rationale is that the Blood Angels would pick their time for assault, wouldn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. And also, the same token, Dyson's going to go first, based on the fact that it kind of makes sense that as an ambushing player, you're going to start first. There's no point seizing. It just wouldn't be very thematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, I think the other rules that we've got is it's called the last gasp, which, if I remember rightly, it means that my guys as the defenders are automatically stubborn throughout this battle.
Correct.
So that's going to hopefully come in quite handy.
Quite useful.
Definitely. And there's one other thing to talk about as well. Now, both of your Leviathans, they do have the Phosphex discharges modelled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've both agreed not to take them, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of thought at 2K it was probably a little bit too much. Paul actually suggested it because I'm obviously quite infantry heavy with no transports for them, and very kindly suggested that we drop the Phosphex, which I was actually more than happy to do after I've seen what it can do to my army at times.
Yeah, so just remember that later on when I'm I have got the moral high ground here.
Yes, yeah.
They are
not bad for a terror player, really. Moral
what can
high
I say?
ground.
Yeah, we're all about respect the Night Lords.
Yeah.
Up.
Those
We're
Phosphex
bad
launchers
people.
are far too powerful, in my opinion.
Yeah, they are horrible, and we just thought that in the highly, highly unlikely event that I ever actually get a good dice roll, it could pretty much
It'll
end the
take
game
a
fairly
unit,
quickly.
won't it?
Yeah,
I think for the points costs, they are probably a little excessive.
they need to be double,
At least.
triple. But you've done a really great gentlemanly thing. You've agreed not to take them. So
I think we'll just get a better game.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think so too.
Yeah.
And it's all about the game and playing it and enjoyment for both players.
Absolutely. Good. Well, gents, 2 really lovely armies, 2K of Blood Angels and Night Lords. Really looking forward to this. We're going to go straight into lists. And then we already know who's going first. So we'll go straight into the first turn. We won't just sort of do the preamble of, who's going first, shall we see? So that's already dealt with. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you, guys.
It'll be good.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a minute.
2,000 points of Blood Angels, led by Legion Praetor, using the Day of Revelation Rite of War. The Warlord trait is Coordinated Assault. HQ choices for the Blood Angels consists of a Legion Consul with the Chaplain type. He is armed with a Blade of Perdition, a Bolt Pistol, a Refractor Field, Melter Bombs, Artificer Armour, and a Jump Pack. Next to the Chaplain, we have our Legion Praetor. He is armed with a Blade of Perdition, Artificer Armour, a Jump Pack, an Iron Halo, and Melter Bombs. Next to the Praetor, we have our Command Rhino as our last HQ choice. Elite choices for the Blood Angels army consists of 2 Apothecaries. These will each attach to a assault squad. They're armed with power swords and jump packs. Blood Angels troop choices consist of 2 units of Assault Marines. 1 unit is a 15-man assault squad. The second is a 14-man assault squad, both armed exactly the same. We have 2 power swords, and a sergeant with Artificer Armour, Power Fist, and Melter Bombs. Fast attack choices consist of 2 identical javelins, each armed with a twinning las cannon, multi-melter, and a hunter-killer missile. Heavy support choices for the Blood Angels army consist of a Derideo pattern dreadnought with Arcanus, heavy las cannon battery, ALS missile launcher, an assault cannon, armoured Semite. Leviathan Siege Dreadnought comes in a Dreadnought drop pod and is armed with a Cyclonic Melter Lance, 2 assault cannons, a Leviathan Siege Drill, and armoured Samurai.
2,000 points of Night Lords, led by a Praetor, running the Rite of War Pride of the Legion, and the Praetor has the Warlord trait, Master of the Vanguard. Night Lords HQ. On the left, we've got a Legion Praetor, armed with Cataphractii Terminator armour. He's carrying a Paragon Blade, a Combi Melter, digital lasers. He's carrying Trophies of Judgment, which means he causes fear. and he also has a teleport transponder. On the right, we've got a Legion console upgraded to be a Primus Medicae. He's also wearing Cataphractii Terminator armour. He's carrying a Thunder Hammer, Trophies of Judgment, and he also has a teleport transponder. Night Lord's troops. Due to the Rite of War Pride of the Legion, the Terminator squad counts as a troop choice. So we've got one squad of 6 Atramentor Terminators. They're armed with Cataphractii Terminator armour. The sergeant's got an Astraman chain glaive and a combi melter. The remainder of the squad has got 3 power fists, 1 chain fist, 1 lightning claw. There's a plasma blaster in there, and the remainder of the squad are armed with combi plasma. They also have teleport transponders so they can deep strike. Second and third troops for Night Lords, because of Pride of the Legion, veteran tactical squads count as troop choices. Both squads are armed almost identically with the exception of the sergeants. They both have a Rhino with a dozer blade. Both squads come with a heavy bolter with a suspensor web, a missile launcher with a suspensor web. Both squads have a Legion Vexilla. Both squads are veterans, so the skill that they've taken is Marksman. The only difference between the two of them is the sergeants. Both of them have Artificer armour, but one carries a power fist, the other carries a power sword. Heavy support. On the left, we've got a Sakaran battle tank, armed with an accelerator autocannon. It has sponson-mounted las cannons, a heavy bolter, a dozer blade, and armoured ceramite. On the right-hand side, there is a Sakaran Venator, again with dozer blades, armoured ceramite. It comes with sponson-mounted las cannons, and it also has a pintle-mounted heavy bolter. Third and final heavy support spot, we've got a Leviathan Siege Dreadnought. He's armed with armoured ceramite, a Leviathan Storm Cannon, a Siege Claw that comes with a built-in melter gun, and twin-linked heavy flamers.
Blood Angels turn 1 movement. Due to the Command Rhino and the 24-inch bubble, we've deep struck all units available to deep strike without scattering in that bubble. That includes the 2 Assault Marine units and the Leviathan in its Dread drop pod. Moving on, we've moved the Blood Angels Javelin speeders up on both flanks, looking to prioritise Sicarans as targets. The Deredeo has not moved. Blood Angels turn 1 shooting. The 2 assault squads have used the shooting phase to both run, spread out and try and minimise any casualties from any template weapons. The Command Rhino has dropped its ordnance, but unfortunately scattered 10 inches away from the Rhino and gone nowhere. Blood Angels Javelin will now shoot the Venator. First shot will be a multi-melter shot. And we'll be hitting on 2s for strafing run, which is a hit. With strength 8, armor 13 at the side. There's no melter rule as Paul has armored Semirite, so we're rolling 1 dice, and that's nothing. Blood Angels Javelin will now shoot its twin-linked las cannon into the side armor of the Venator. Las cannon is strength 9, armor 13 on the side, so we'll need 4s to glance, 5s to pen. And good job, it's a twin-linked. Or not.
Oh, that's the result.
The Javelin will now shoot its Hunter-Killer missile in some sort of vain hope that we do anything to the Venator. Hitting on 2s. And it's strength 8, armor 13. So now I need to glance or pen it. 5 for a glance, 6 for a pen. No. The second Blood Angels Javelin will now shoot at the normal Sicaran. Sidearm again, which is 13, and we're going to shoot the multi-melter first. Strafing run for 2s to hit, which we hit, and with 5s to glance, 6s to pen, and that again is nothing. We'll now shoot the twin-linked las cannon, again into the side armor of this Sicaran. Twin-linked, which we hit this time, and we are 4s to glance, 5s to pen. No. We'll now shoot the Hunter-Killer missile, again 2s to hit, which we hit, And we have 5 to glance. And that's nothing. Blood Angels Deredeo will now shoot the Venator. We really need some armor to start popping here after some really unsuccessful shooting from the Javelins. We're going to shoot its 2 las cannons into the front arc with strength 10, 13 at the front, so we need 3s to glance if we do hit. So with 2s to hit, we hit with 2, and with 3s to glance, and we're 1 glance, 1 pen. Now, due to Exo Shock, if we have a penetrating hit on a 4-up, we get another pen. So I'll just roll that now. No. So we've got 1 glance and a pen. Rolling for damage, the las cannon is AP2, so we'll get +1 on the damage table.
And he's gone.
And that's an explodes.
That's made up for your previous.
That has made up for the Javelins bouncing off anything. After the success of blowing up the Venator, the Deredeo decided to draw its attention to the lead Rhino. Using the missile launchers, the armor was a bit too tough, and we absolutely bounced. Blood Angels Leviathan just dropped down straight in front of the Rhino. It's going to take a couple of pot shots at it with its first its Melter Gun, then its Cyclonic Melter Lance. So Melter Gun, no. Unfortunately, the Leviathan missed. We're going to now move on to our Cyclonic Melter Lance. Again, BS5, so hitting on 2s. So we have 2 hits within half range for Melter, which is 2d6 on the armor penetration. First one. That's a pen, and second is a pen. The Leviathan has done 2 penetrating hits. It's AP1 on the Melter Lance, so we'll be adding +2 to the damage table. So first dice is a 6,
And it's gone.
so that explodes. And the second, well, it's gone anyway. The Blood Angels Leviathan has destroyed the enemy Rhino. In ensuing explosion, have managed to also kill 2 Night Lords. A really great result there. Overall, I'm quite happy to have killed the Venator and have everything dropped in, and we're looking good for the next few turns.
Night Lord's movement turn 1. In the centre of the board, we've got the veteran squad, which has emerged from the Rhino that the Leviathans destroyed. They're moving over to try and get some shots off against the assault squad because they can't do anything to the Leviathan. Moving up slightly, we've got the Sicaran. Now that's moved slightly forward to try and shield itself from the Deredeo, so hopefully it's going to survive another turn of shooting, and it's now going to try and do something to the Leviathan. The second Rhino, with the second veteran tactical squad, has moved forward. The squad has disembarked, and they're now getting lined up to try and rapid fire into the assault marines and try and whittle those down before I get charged. And finally, the Leviathan Dreadnought has moved forward to try and deal with that land speeder. Night Lord shooting turn 1. The Leviathan has decided to shoot at the Javelin, which is elected to jink. He's going to start off by firing his Leviathan Storm Cannon at him, which is heavy 6, so I get 6 shots. It's ballistic seal 5, so it's 2s to hit. Okay, so 1 miss. Okay, now it is strength 7, and the armour is 11, so I need 4s to glance. Ooh, ouch. 1 penetrating hit. Luckily for me, the Storm Cannon has Sunder, which means I can re-roll all my failed penetration hits. So, I need 5s to glance, 6 to pen. Nothing. Okay, so that's 1 penetrating hit, but you now get a chance to jink.
It's a 4-up jink.
Which he makes. Okay, so after the dismal shooting with the Storm Cannon, I need to hit this with the Melter Gun. So, here we go. Ballistic skill 5, 2s to hit. And he does hit. Brilliant. Okay, it's armor 11, strength 8, so it's 3s to glance, 4s to pen. Brilliant. So it's a penetrating hit, 1 glance save, please, or 1 jink save, please.
1 jink of 4-up coming up. No.
Which he fails. Rolling for damage, it's AP1 with the Melter, so +2 to the damage. So I'm looking for a 5 or 6 to blow this up. Oh, and a 2. Becomes a 4.
Crew stunned.
The veteran tactical squad fired everything it had at the assault squad. We did all the rolling off camera because of the marksman rule. There were lots of precision shots that we had to take into account. In the end, we managed to kill 2 assault marines, and luckily we were able to snipe the apothecary from the squad, which is going to make a huge difference because they're not going to get feel no pain. Second veteran tactical squad fired everything it had got at the second assault squad. Really poor round of shooting. Despite all the sniper rules, the missile launcher and the heavy bolter, all we managed to do was kill a single assault marine. Okay, so after a horrendous round of shooting, I really need to try and recap some honour here. So it's down to the Sakaran to try and get some points back. Now that's going to be easier said than done. He's going to shoot at the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought, but due to the Rite of War they've got, he gets an automatic 5+ cover save on turn 1. Add that to the +2 of the drop pod means that he's looking at a +3 cover save. So this is going to be easier said than done. Starting off with the accelerator autocannon, I get 6 shots, twin linked, hitting on 3s. Okay, so luckily that's twin linked. 5 hits, because it's strength 7 and armor 13, I need 6s to glance. However, because it's a rending weapon, 6s automatically penetrate. Okay, so that's 1 penetrating hit.
Leviathan has a 3-up cover save from that penetrating hit, and we'll roll that now. And we've saved.
Next up, we'll go for the las cannons. We've got 2 of them on the sponsons, firing at it, hitting on 3s. Okay, 1 hit, 1 miss. Now it's strength 9, armor 13, so we are glancing on 4s. Okay, so we've got a glance.
Again, 3-up cover save on the Leviathan,
which he makes. Not an amazing shooting turn for the Night Lords, but the last ditched attempt is we're going to try a daring charge with the Leviathan into the Javelin. Night Lords assault phase, turn 1. Right, big moment here. Need to charge the Javelin. It's a 9-inch charge. Because of move through cover, I just need a straight line. Now this is massive. Oh, and he does it. He's in. Finally some luck. Massive 10-inch charge from the Leviathan. He hammered into the Javelin. Because of his special rule, crushing charge, he literally glanced it to pieces. Didn't even need to roll to attack it. Smashed it to bits. Night Lords, turn 1 overview. Could have gone better. Shooting wasn't brilliant. A couple of things that did work fairly well. I've moved the Sakaran forward, so that's now out of the line of sight of the Deredio, which I'm happy with. The Leviathan eventually managed to kill the Javelin. Unfortunately, it would have been nicer if we'd been able to do it with shooting, so that's taken that one down. I have got a couple of concerns. I've still got the second Javelin running around in my rear, which I'm a little bit worried about, and the Leviathan's still there, but could have been worse.
Blood Angel's turn 2 movement. The Blood Angel's Javelin has scooted around into Paul's little base of operations, either to sort of line up a shot either at the back of the Leviathan or possibly the Sakaran. The first jump pack unit with the chaplain has moved up, ready to engage the veterans and try and stay clear of the Leviathan, really. The Leviathan Siege Dreadnought has also moved up and out of the pod, looking at potential shots there. The Deredio has scooted round a little bit for a bit of angle of fire, and the second assault unit has engaged their jump packs to sort of scoot round the pod and look to be charging the Night Lords player. Blood Angel shooting turn 2. The Javelin has moved up and is going to take a nice little shot into the side of the Rhino. We're going to try and hit with the multi-melter first. We've got strafing run, so we hit on 2s, which we hit. We're within half range from Melter. It's armor 11, and we've got 2d6 on a strength 8. So we need 3s. And we don't. Unfortunately, we've got a massive score of a double 1 there, and we've done no damage to the Rhino. We'll move swiftly into the las cannons. Again, strafing run, so hitting on 2s, twin linked. So we've hit, and we're strength 9 against armor 11, so we need 2s to glance. And we've got a pen. Rolling for damage, we're AP2, which is +1 to the result rolled. Let's roll that damage. 2, so that's 3, which is a crew shaken. Deredio has now lined up the back of the Leviathan, looking at the weak point in its armor. We're going to shoot the las cannons into the back of the Leviathan. So we're hitting on 2s. We successfully hit with both. We're strength 10, armor 12. We're glancing on 2s. Anything above that is a penetrating hit. So we've got 1 pen.
Leviathan, 4-up invulnerable, game-changing moment, wish me luck. and it's a 4-up he's made.
Ah.
That is a big relief.
The Leviathan has ambled out of its pod, slow and purposefully towards the Sicarian. We're going to take a shot with the Cyclonic Melter Lance straight into the front. We are within half range, but there'll be no Melter for Armored Samurai on the Sicarian. So, hitting on 2s with 3 shots. We hit with all 3. We're Strength 9, Armour 13, which is a 4 to glance. We have 1 pen. Rolling for damage, we're +2 due to AP 1, so we'll just roll that now. And we've got a 3, which makes it a 5, and a weapon destroyed. Rolling for weapon destroyed, we've managed to take the main autocannon turret off of the Sicarian. Last melter gun, straight into the front, hitting on 2s again, and we miss. Moving on to the assault cannons. Now, due to the malfunction rule, each assault cannon gets 4 shots each, but we will roll them separately, as 3 dice rolls of a 1 will make that weapon no longer work. So we've got 2s to hit on the first one. So we've got 3 hits. The second one is again 3 hits. Rolling for armor penetration, we need 6s to rend. And we've got 1. On a roll of a 2, we glance, and a 3 is a pen. And we do a glance, which leaves the Sicarian with 1 hull point left from this round of shooting. All in, not a bad round of shooting from the Blood Angels. Quite happy to take the Sicarian turret off, which would have negated any sort of jinx save from our javelin. Unfortunately, didn't really do anything to the Leviathan. But I think what's really going to be telling here is once we get into combat and start slicing Night Lords. Blood Angels turn to assault. Both assault squads have made it into combat. The Praetor unit used its jump packs. However, the Chaplain unit did not, so they will get some Hammer of Wrath attacks as well. We're just going to resolve all of that. The Chaplain unit has successfully assaulted the Night Lords veterans, losing 1 Marine to some excellent marksmanship in snap shooting from the Night Lords, and have done 3 wounds on Hammer of Wrath, but have successfully saved by the Night Lords. Starting the combat phase against the Night Lords, the Blood Angels Chaplain will go first at initiative 6 because he's +1 due to the Rite of War when charging. We have 3 attacks base, +1 for charging. We'll roll to hit. So we've hit with 3, and due to Zealots, we get to re-roll any failed misses in the first round of combat, which we hit with all. Blood Angels Legion Astartes also mean we have +1 to wound better, so we'll be wounding the Night Lords on a 3-up. The Chaplain has done 2 wounds, but due to Deathfire from the Blade of Perdition, we will now do 4 wounds at AP2.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about that. I haven't got anything that can save AP2. I've got no medic in the unit, so unfortunately that's 4 dead Marines just from the Chaplain.
The next initiative step is the Blood Angel Assault Marines. We're going to roll the Power Swords first. We've got 3 attacks each due to charging. We'll be hitting on 3s and potentially killing on 3s as well. We do also have a reroll from the Chaplain if we miss in the hitting. So we'll re-roll 1 Power Sword miss, and it's a swing and another miss, and we'll be wounding on 3s, which is 3 wounds. Due to the volume of hits put out by the Assault Marine unit, we've rolled these off camera. The Blood Angels with Power Swords managed to do 2 wounds, killing 2 Night Lords straight out with their Power Swords. The remaining Assault Marines have done 6 wounds, which will be a normal 3-up armor save.
So I've got 6 saves to make. To begin with, I'm going to make them 3 at a time because they then potentially go on to the Sergeant with Artificer armor at 2+. So this is the first 3 3-ups. And we've got 3 ones.
3 ones.
So 3 guys are dead. So the remaining 3 wounds go straight onto the Sergeant, 2 up.
Which he makes.
And he lives.
Moving on in the assault phase, we now have 2 sergeants left with power fists each. I'm going to roll first as it was my turn to assault. I'm going to be hitting Paul on 4s and potentially killing on 2s. So I've done 1 hit. I just need that 2. Which we don't get.
This is a big moment. So the sergeant is still alive. He's got 2 attacks back with his power fist, hitting on 4s, killing on 2s. So pressure point. Nothing.
Oh. Handbags at dawn, I believe that was.
That was a brutal combat for me. The only person from the veteran tactical squad living is the sergeant. Now, normally I'd have lost by 9, which would be absolutely horrendous, but because of the special rules of this mission, the last grasp, all my units are stubborn. So it's a normal 9+ leadership test. Here we go. And he makes it. Epic move from that guy still in there fighting.
Blood Angels assault with the Praetor unit. We successfully made it to combat without losing anybody due to snap shooting. We've unfortunately used our jump pack, so we won't be getting any hammer wrath attacks here. Our Praetor will be swinging first with his Blade of Perdition. He's 4 attacks base, +1 for charging, and +1 for digital lasers. We'll be hitting on 3s and potentially killing on 3s. So we also have Mastercrafted. So we'll reroll 1 hit. We've got a grand total of 2 hits. And we'll be wounded on 3s. So we've done 1, which will then double to 2 due to Deathfire on the Blade of Perdition. So 2 AP2.
Can't do anything about AP2, so that's 2 dead Night Lords.
After the Praetor swung, the Butchers of Baal did their job and completely wiped the veteran unit in close combat just there. We've consolidated and spread out a little bit. Excellent round from the Blood Angels, doing what they do best, which is gutting people in combat. I've nearly wiped out all infantry from the Night Lords. We've got 1 very lucky sergeant at the back there, but I'm a bit wary about where the Terminator's going to deep strike and what they're going to do to me.
Night Lord's turn 2 movement. Last game was absolutely brutal. Got really, really mauled by the Blood Angels, so now it's time to try and do something about it. Thank God my Terminators managed to actually come in. Also, they didn't scatter as well, which is really handy. Otherwise, I could have had a huge problem. So they've deep striked in, and they're about ready to try and do something nasty to that assault squad. Moving on up the board, the Sakaran has decided that he's going to turn round. So he's effectively pivoted because I think he stands more chance of doing something to the Javelin than he does of the Leviathan. And my Leviathan has moved forward because he's going to try and wade into that combat with the Assault Marines and see if he can do something horrible to them. Night Lord's turn 2 shooting. It's going to be brief because there's not that much still alive. Starting off with the Sakaran, which is going to try and shoot into the Blood Angel's Javelin. Now, he lost the Accelerator autocannon last turn, so all he's really got is his 2 las cannons. So 2 las cannons shooting into the Javelin, hitting on 3s. Okay, 1 hit. Now, it's Strength 9, Armour 11, so glancing on 2s. And it's a penetrating hit. But he has elected to jink, so he'll get a save.
Let's do that now. And we've jinked successfully.
Dreadful round of shooting from the Terminators, despite the fact that we had potentially 15 shots to put into. They're all equipped with combi, so we had a mixture of combi plasma, melter, and a plasma blaster. Despite all of that, we only managed to score 6 hits, and of those 6 hits, we only actually killed 3 Marines. So yeah, dreadful. Night Lord's assault phase turn 2. The Leviathan has successfully charged into the unit of Assault Marines. Unfortunately, his crushing charge rule didn't do anything. He failed to wound them. He's normally got a base of 4 attacks, goes down to 3 because he's bought an additional ranged weapon, but because he charges, that goes back to 4. Weapon skill 5, so he's hitting on 3s. Okay, so that's 3 hits, and he's effectively killing on 2s. Okay, 2 dead guys.
Time for the Chaplain now to step up in this combat. He's still got a higher initiative than the Night Lord Sergeant. We're going to use that Blade of Perdition, and we are going to gut him. Hitting on 3s. That's 2 successful hits. And we'll be wounding on 3s again. Which doubles to 2, and they are AP2, so he is dead. The Blood Angels Assault Marines have stepped up at initiative 4. Unfortunately, none of their weapons can actually hurt the Leviathan. So we're going to go to the initiative 1 phase, where the Sergeant will step up and try and hit the Leviathan with his Power Fist. Unfortunately, he can't do anything with his Melter Bombs because he can't get into base-to-base contact with the Leviathan. So we've got 2 attacks with the Power Fist, hitting on 4s. And we hit nothing. Unfortunately, the Blood Angels have lost combat by 1. But due to the chaplain being present on the board, he and the unit are fearless. And they are not scared of that Leviathan.
So that's pretty much it for Night Lord's turn 2. We've done everything that we can do. The Terminators, because they teleported in, are unable to move, so all they could do was shoot in the shooting phase. The Leviathan has done as much damage as it was able to do in the assault phase, and that's pretty much it.
Blood Angels turn 3. The Javelin has scooted round just to have a little bit of a better shot at the Sakaran. That's still alive, although it still is hitting side armour, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. The Leviathan has moved up in preparation to hopefully charge and try and save his brothers before they get turned into dreadnoughts. The Derrideo has pivoted slightly, looking to take a couple of pot shots down at the Cataphracti, and the assault squad with the Praetor has just moved up, ready to engage. Turn 3 shooting from the Blood Angels. The Javelin is going to start with its multi-melter into the side of the Sakaran. That will be hitting on 2s. We've hit, and we are strength 8, and it's 13 on the side, so we'll be needing 5s to glance. No. We will now shoot the twin las cannon, again hitting on 2s, which we do hit, strength 9, so now we need 4s to glance. We get a pen. Rolling for damage. We're just rolling to see if we explode this from the penetrating hit, and we've wrecked an immobilised result, but as it's on its last hull point, that's it. The Sakaran wrecked. Derrideo's pivoted around, going to take some shots into the Cataphracti, try and whittle some of those down before the charge. We're going to start with the assault cannons. We're going to roll the first one, which all hit, and we'll be wounded on 2s. That's 4 wounds, but no rending.
Okay, so we've got 4 2-up saves, which we make.
Moving on to the 2 las cannons on the Derrideo. We'll be hitting on 2s and killing on 2s. So 2 hits and 2 wounds, so they'll be straight to invulnerable saves.
Okay, so we've got 2 4-up invulnerable saves because they're wearing Cataphracti armour. Okay, and we make both of them.
And the ALS missile launcher, which is heavy 3, will now shoot into it. Should we hit with all? We like those 6s, could have had them earlier. And we'll wound. And we do 1 wound? 2 wounds.
What's the AP on that?
3.
3. So I've got 3 number 2-up saves, which I make.
And he's made all of his saves from the Derrideo. Yes. The Blood Angels assault squad has unleashed its bolt pistols, still looking to thin out those Cataphracti a little bit. We've successfully done 4 wounds against the Cataphracti. Over to Paul.
So we've got 4 2-up saves to make. Okay, so we lose 1, but we have got a Primus Medicae, so we get 5 plus feel no pain, which he makes.
Lovely. Blood Angels turn 3 assault. We really need a big charge from the Leviathan here. He's got to come and help his boys out. We need 8 inches, so we need this. And we've rolled a spectacular 7 there, which means the Leviathan has had a little wobble on some dead Night Lords on his base, as you can clearly see, and decided that he can't make that charge. The Blood Angels assault squad with Praetor has made it into combat this time round. They've used their jump packs once they got there, doing 2 wounds on Hammer of Wrath. Unfortunately, that did not do anything to the Cataphracti, that stood it up. So we're now going to go to both the Praetors they're about to start destroying. So Blood Angels Praetor will hit first due to the higher initiative. He's going to be hitting on 3s and again wounding on 3s with his Blade of Perdition. So hits is... We do have Mastercrafted. It's still nothing. So we'll be wounding on 3s. 1, which then doubles to 2. So 2 AP2 wounds, please, Paul.
Okay, because it's AP2, we're having to go on to the 4+ invulnerable save. So here's both of them at once. Okay, and we make 1 and we fail 1. However, I have got the Primus Medicae, so feel no pain, which he fails. So I lose a guy. Next up, at initiative step 5, is the Night Lord's Praetor. He's got 4 attacks base. He's got a plus additional attack for digital laser, so he's got 5 attacks. He's hitting on 3s. So we've got 4 hits. He's got a Paragon Blade, so that's +1 strength. So he's wounding on 3s, 6s, a Murderous Strike. Okay, so he's got 1 Murderous Strike, and he's got 2 normal AP2 hits.
So on the 2 AP2s, we'll move straight to the Feel No Pain from the Apothecary, and there'll be 5-up saves, which we make none of, so 3 dead. Blood Angels Assault Initiative Step 5. Even though we lost 3 Marines to the Praetor, they still get to strike back in the same initiative order as they were hit. The Assault Squad did 16 hits and totaled 9 wounds. Paul, however, very jammily saved every single one of those.
It's about time. It's literally about time. I've used up all my ones earlier on in the game. Initiative step 4. The Sergeant of the Atramenta is going to step up with his Strahlman Chain Glaive. It's a 2-handed weapon. He's weapon skill 4, so he's hitting on 4s. It's +1 strength, so he's wounding on 3s and 6s rend. So 2 attacks base. Okay, he's got 1 hit. Wounding on 3s, 6s rend, and he's got 1 wound.
That's 1 save.
Oh, it's also AP3. So you go straight to your Feel No Pain.
Feel No Pain with a 5-up. No.
Also at initiative step 4 is the Atramenta Terminator with a Lightning Claw. So 2 attacks base, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s with Shred. So he's got 2 hits, wounding on 4s with Shred. Didn't need it. 2 wounds. It's AP3, so it goes straight to your Feel No Pain.
So 2 Feel No Pain saves. Hopefully we'll finally make one of these today. And we make 1 and lose 1.
Initiative step 1. The Atramenta Terminators have really excelled themselves. They managed to pretty much wipe almost the entire squad, including the Praetor, who died to a very, very unlucky Lookout Serral. From my point of view, really, really lucky from me. He failed his Iron Halo, so he went down as well. Yeah, they made short work of them with Power Fists and Chain Fists.
The Blood Angels are now going to need an insane amount of courage to stay in this fight. I don't think it's going to happen, but we need a double 1 to stick about, which we don't get. We'll also be running away 3d6 due to jump packs, and we are going to leg it. And we're off 11 inches.
Sadly, my Terminators, because they're in cataphracted Terminator armour, cannot pursue.
Blood Angels Assault. Now, unfortunately, the Leviathan didn't make it into combat to help out his brothers. But what we do have is some Melter Bombs. Unfortunately, due to unwieldy on Melter Bombs, we will be striking last. And the Leviathan will hit the Blood Angels first.
So, he's coming up at initiative 4. He's got 3 attacks because he's lost one of them because he's had a ranged weapon. So he's weapon skill 5, so he's hitting on 3s and killing on 2s. Okay, so we've got 3 hits. And then rolling to wound, we've got 3 dead Marines.
Blood Angels Chaplain and Sergeant both have Melter Bombs. This could really do us a big favour here if we can get rid of this Leviathan and free ourselves up. They're both going to be hitting on 4s. And we miss. Blood Angels turn 3 overview. Slightly disappointing turn from the Blood Angels perspective. Golden Boy went into the Cataphracti, bounced and severely had a head crushing from a Power Fist. The Melter Bombs unfortunately did nothing to the Leviathan, couldn't hit Toffee today, and the Leviathan, Blood Angel 1, sorry, did absolutely nothing and stumbled about.
Night Lord's turn 3 movement. The only squad that I've got left that can really do anything is the Atramenta Terminators. They're going to start charging up the board to see if they can possibly get involved and help with the Leviathan. Really good turn with them last time after one of the Chain Fist guys chinned the Praetor. So yeah, really happy with them. Night Lord's turn 3 shooting. The Atramenta Terminator squad decided to see if they could take pot shots at the remainder of the assault squad. They hit 3 times, wounded 3 times, but unfortunately they made all of their saves. Night Lord's turn 3 assault. The Leviathan versus the assault squad. The Leviathan starts first at initiative step 4. He's got 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, killing on 2s. Ouch. 3 1s. It looks like I'm back to my previous form.
Blood Angels Assault. After watching the Leviathan flap about a bit there, we've got every confidence that we're going to be strapping some melter bombs to it. So, Chaplain and Sergeant, 4 ups. Come on. We've got 1. Now that's 2d6 due to Armor Bane. And Strength 8, so we need 5. And we've got a pen.
Luckily, the Leviathan has got a 4+ invulnerable save, which he fails.
Ooh.
So the melter bomb goes through.
Let's see what it does. We're going to roll on the damage table, and we've got +2 from the melter bomb. So, big dice. We've got a crew stunned.
Night Lord's turn 3 overview. Bit unlucky that the Leviathan fluffed his attacks, but to be fair, I think I had more than my fair share of luck when I took down that squad last turn. So yeah, can't complain really. The Terminators are trying to move up the board to see if they can engage next turn, and we will see where we are.
Blood Angels turn 4 movement. Unfortunately, the Apothecary and remaining Assault Marine decided that they'd had enough for the day, and the terror that the Night Lords caused really did terrify them, and they ran straight off the board, failing their leadership. The Deredeo is got his las cannons locked and is about ready to put some nice little shots straight into the Night Lord's Praetor. The Javelin has shimmered across and is going to take a little pot shot into the back of that Rhino. The Leviathan has also moved up, looking to charge the Night Lord's Leviathan. Blood Angels turn 4 shooting. The Javelin shimmered across and is going to put some shots into the back of that Rhino. We're going to start with the multi-melter. We need a 2 to hit, which we hit. And we're also within melter range, which gives us 2d6 on the armor penetration. And that will be a pen. And now we're going to roll to see what damage we do, which is 1 plus 2 equals a crew shaken. So that's another hull point, and leaves the Rhino with only 1 more hull point left. We do still have the las cannons, or las cannon should I say, and that will shoot now. So hitting on 2, and it's strength 9, which is a pen, and let's see what we can do. See if we can explode this. We don't, but it's gone. Blood Angels shooting. The Deredeo's eyed up the Praetor, taken aim, and we're about to start shooting. We need 2s to hit, and we're going to fire our las cannons. These are strength 10, so they would double out the Praetor. So hitting on 2s, we've hit twice. We're strength 10, so we have the potential to kill on 2s. And we've got 1. Really bad roll, but we've made 1.
Okay. First thing that I'm going to do is a lookout Sir rule, because I'd kind of like to keep him around a little while longer, which he makes. So we go straight onto a 4+ save on the Terminator with the Lightning Claw, which we fail. And because it's strength 10, it's doubled him out, so we don't get feel no pain. So the Terminator with the Lightning Claw is dead. Moving on to the AOS missile launcher. We've got 3 shots with this, hitting on 2s again. We've hit with all of the shots, and we'll be wounded on 2s as well, which we get all 3. However, it's only AP 3. The Praetor's taking these hits, so I don't want to do that. I want to do as a lookout Sir. So starting off, I'm just going to roll all 3 of them at once. Okay, so all 3 of them go on to the rest of the squad, and they have got a 2+ save. Okay, so they all make it. Unfortunately, the missiles did nothing there, so the assault cannon that's on the Deredeo is now whirling up and about to spit out a load of bullets straight at that Praetor. We're hitting on 2s again, and we'll be wounding on 2s as well, with 6s as rending. We've hit with all of our shots. Could do with those 6s again. And we do. Ooh, we've got 1 wound and 2 rending. Which would you like me to take first? The rending or the normal wound? The normal wound. Okay, go to normal wound, look out Sir, which he passes. So that's a 2-up save, which he passes. So then moving on to the rending wounds. So look out Sir rolls, I need 2 of them. Okay, so he passes both of those. Now because they're rending, they go straight to the 4-up invulnerable save. Okay, which I fail both of them, but because I've got the Primus Medicae, I get 2 Feel No Pains. Which I make one, the other's cocked. Okay, so another guy is dead.
Blood Angels Assault turn 4. The Leviathan has eyed up the opposing Leviathan and about to go and smash it right in the back. We need a charge of 3. And hopefully this time he's not going to stumble about. And we're in. Blood Angels Assault. We've got a siege drill. So this could potentially really do some damage to the opposing Leviathan. We've got 4 attacks. And we need 4s to hit. So just roll in those. We hit with 3. Now, the siege drill also has armor bane, so we'll be rolling 2d6 penetration, and we only need 3s to glance. So, first one, we've got a pen. Second, another pen, and the third and final, another pen. So, 3 invulnerable saves from the Night Lord's Leviathan coming up.
Okay, so this is big here. This is enough to finish him off. So 3 4 pluses. Ooh. Okay, so 2 have gone through.
Rolling 2 dice on the damage table. We've got +1. What we really don't want is an explosive results, but let's see what we can get. So no explosion. End of Blood Angels turn 4. There's a lot of smoke on the table. There's a lot of destroyed vehicles. I'm quite happy with how that turn's ended. Destroying the Leviathan is a big, big help to me. Just shimmied the Leviathan back and just lining up shots really now on the Night Lord's Terminators. Just looking to see what they're going to do next.
Night Lord's turn 4 overview. There's not actually that much we can do. We've only got the 1 squad left, so it's time to revert to type and just going for some wanton vandalism. So with this in mind, we've marched up, we've assaulted the drop pod just to smash it up out of sheer spite, which we have done. So the drop pod is destroyed, and the idea is that hopefully, if we can live long enough, we can start moving towards the Deredio, and fingers crossed we can do something to that in later turns.
Blood Angels turn 5. Haven't really got all that much left myself. I've moved the assault squad across in some sort of vain hope of saving them. The Javelin has moved up, looking to take a couple of pot shots. The Leviathan has shimmied back to where he was. For whatever reason, don't quite know, he decided to move back, but now he needs to come forwards. And we're going to do some shooting. Blood Angels turn 5 shooting. We're going to assault with the 2 assault cannons on the Leviathan. That's the only thing really in range on the Leviathan. Again, we might suffer from malfunction, but let's get some hits down now. So, hitting on 2s with the first one. So we've got 1 miss. And a second assault cannon. Again, 1 miss. So we're strength 6, and we'll be wounding on 2s. So we've done 5 wounds to the Terminators just in front of us.
So that's 5 hits that go straight onto the Praetor because he's the nearest model. I'm going to try and look out Sir him, so I've got 5 of those to roll. Okay, and luckily he makes all of those, so that goes straight onto the rest of the squad, which is a 2-up save, so 5 2-ups. And they make it. These guys seem to actually have the lion's share of the luck for this game, it has to be said.
I think they've had the luck for your whole army, to be honest.
To be fair, actually this is probably I've used up my luck for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's
really honest.
So the Javelin has just shot its twin-link las cannon straight again at the Praetor, who's luckily managed to dodge, but unsuccessfully, the guy that's butted him out of the way has taken a las cannon and straight to the face. Blood Angels Deredeo, again eyeing up that Praetor. Hopefully this time he's actually going to get his aim sorted out and do some real damage to him. So let's get hitting. So hitting on 2s. That's cocked. We'll roll that again. So we hit with both. Again, strength 10. We'll be wounding on 2s now. Wow. Wow.
To be fair, this Praetor is doing quite well at the moment.
That
it has to be said.
That Praetor is living a very charmed life at the moment. So we'll go straight to the ALS missile launcher. Again, 3 shots on this. Hitting on 2s and again wounding on 2s. Not so good. We've hit once. And we've wounded once, thankfully.
Okay, so wounded on the 2 with the Praetor. Again, I'm going to do Lookout Sir. Okay, which he fails this time, so he's got to take it, but this is a 2+ save, which he makes.
Spectacular shooting from the Derrideo so far. Let's hope his assault cannon can actually do something this time round. Eyeing him up, wearing the assault cannon up, and off we go, hitting on 2s, which is all hit. Some 6s and some rended would be quite nice now. Let's see what we get. We've got 1 rend and 3 wounds.
Okay, so which would you like me to take first?
Let's go for the rend first.
Okay, going for the rend again. I'm going to look out Sir, which he does. Because it's a rending hit, it goes straight to a 4-up invulnerable, which I fail. However, I do get a feel no pain, which I make. So then going back to the 3 remaining hits. Again, I'm going to look out Sir on the Praetor. Okay, so he manages to do all of those. So they go onto the rest of the squad, and they are 2-up saves, which I fail 1, but I do get feel no pain. So they're fine. Oh no, they're not until the lights are 4, so 1 guy goes down.
In the Blood Angels turn 5. Just little snipey little shots now going into the Terminators, both the Javelin and the Derrideo. Better result from the Javelin killing 1. Little disappointed with the Derrideo, but did manage to kill 1 as well.
Night Lord's turn 5. In the movement phase, I've moved the Terminators 6 inches up. I don't want to give away any more unnecessary victory points, so I want to try and keep them alive. However, my Praetor has got the Warlord trait, Master of the Vanguard, which gives him an extra inch to his charge range. Now, he's had all the luck in the world so far, so I've decided I'm going to see if I can push that even further. So having moved up 6 inches, it gives me a 13-inch charge to get into combat with the Derrideo. So, here we go, double 6. Let's see if he can do it. Oh. Okay, well, it looks like his luck has finally sort of ceased. But hey, he's had a good run so far.
The Blood Angels Derrideo did elect to snap shoot the charging Night Lords, however failed to score a single hit. Blood Angels turn 6. Combined firepower from the Derrideo, the Leviathan and the Javelin. A few unlucky rolls for Lookout Sirs and a lot of high strength shooting has finally seen the luck of the Night Lords Terminators and Praetor diminish, and they have been wiped out.
Wow. I do not know what to say. I'm emotional. I'm excited. I'm upset. I can't put my finger on it. But Dice, a win.
A win, probably more likely by the skin of my teeth there, I think. There was a lot of points still on the table for Paul by the end there.
Yeah.
I'm actually a bit speechless, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
It's just...
Solid.
Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, Paul, points-wise, you were smashing it by turn 4, 5.
It was good. It kind of started to add up, and I thought it was going to go really, really well. And then he just, at the very last minute, at the 11th hour, he kind of pulled it all back by taking out my Terminator squad. I mean, they'd been really effective, but there was also large amounts of points in that squad, so when he scrubbed them, that was it.
Yeah, you'd lost all your points because don't forget that it was troops and non-scoring units were scoring points all the way through right up to the end, and get rid of those. You just denied all those points for Paul, and then
because of the special rules on that game type, he would have got 2 VPs for that, which would have been 6.
Yeah.
So I was quite lucky. I just had enough range and just enough firepower to double them out and manage to take them out, which it would have just gone the other way.
Yeah, and how dramatic the literally last turn of the game.
Last turn, literally the last shot of the game.
It was virtually the last roll of the dice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, technically, you had another 6th turn, so Dice did do it in 6, and you may have had a 6.
But there's obviously nobody left.
Yeah. But it was pretty spectacular.
It was quite hardcore, I have to say, by the end.
That Derrideo did some good damage for you for the whole game, didn't it?
Until a certain point, yes. It did do a lot for me, actually, to be fair. I'm a big convert on the Derrideo now. I hadn't really thought about it very much beforehand, but now I'm a big fan, especially with the las cannons. You can't argue with that.
They're good, aren't they?
It was a tasty bit of kit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it ultimately made a big hole in the Terminators. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was really cool as well is the assault cannons on both the Leviathan and the Derrideo, because they did a bit themselves, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, 4 shots, they're still high strength.
Yeah.
You'll get saves, but it's the rending that's the killer.
That's the thing that makes the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
The rending. Yeah.
Really good.
And to think that you can put that onto anything that can essentially take a heavy flamer. I could have an assault cannon on the front of that javelin there, for instance, or a heavy unit of troops with assault cannons. So
it's like a baby carries almost. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
baby carries,
pretty much.
just watch out for the ones and the malfunctions, and you'll be all right.
Oh, I loved it. Let's just talk about the models you brought back. We'll start with the Victor, of course. You brought back your speeder there.
Yeah, I've brought the javelin back. Although the Derrido really did me proud, there was just a few instances where, the double one towards the end really didn't help there at all. Really put the game on the edge, actually. So I brought back the javelin purely. The harassment it did to the Night Lords was immense. I mean, losing one, I thought, it's not, the other one's not really going to do that much. But it managed to just fly about, popping vehicles, killing Terminators by the end. I can't argue with that.
Did a good job.
For its points, it's done me wonders.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely my unit of the game for me.
Cool. And Paul, you brought back your beefy Terminator, didn't you?
It has to be. I mean, they just kept going. They had a brilliant round of combat against the assault squad.
Yeah.
Obviously really, really unlucky with the rolls that you made for your Praetor, but the chain fist
More
guy,
double ones. Let's just get that in there. Took a power fist on the chin.
I think the chain fist guy giving him a good right hand that's the high point of the game for me. That was really But they just kept going, and the Praetor kept making all his lookout sir rules, and just soldiered on. So for me, they're definitely the unit of the game.
Did a good job. Well, I've been here the whole time. I've watched the whole game. I really enjoyed it. It was super fun. So thank you so much for turning out and providing us such a great game. My pleasure.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant fun.
Good. Now, you blokes you're in Peterborough. You live in Peterborough?
Yeah.
Right close to the channel. You've both come to the club, which is great.
Yep.
And we talked about some games in the future, maybe. So hopefully we'll get you back and get a bit more action out of you.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Whether it's against each other or you can find some more opponents for you. So
definitely. I'd love to come back. Really enjoyed it. I've got a newfound respect, it has to be said, for anybody who does this, because it is not easy.
Oh, good.
Watching it.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of comments saying, "Oh, you forgot that rule. You forgot a rule." Yes. Admittedly, some rules are forgotten, but with the pressure in the game, and just sometimes it just happens.
It's one of those things where you know what you're doing, you know what you want to say, but then it just doesn't either come out or it's just not happening. So I mean, apologies if there is any rules there that we may have missed, but overall, I think we've had a good, solid game. And to everyone else that's done it before, well done, because it really is hard work.
Fair play.
But very, very fun.
Good.
I will add that. Did love it.
Yeah.
I'm pleased. I'm really pleased. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, there's just a few more mentions to say here. Now, Dyson, if we want to see some more of your Blood Angels, what can we do?
You can find some of my Blood Angels on Instagram.
Yes.
I am at Sikion of Bow even. And you will find a wider range of Blood Angels for all your angelic needs.
Excellent. So please go and check out his Instagram page. Give him a like, give him a follow. And Paul, we haven't got anything. We can't follow you up, can we?
No.
You need to sort that out.
I need to pull my finger out and get that.
happen.
Yeah. I think I'm going to cave into peer pressure and start doing Instagram. So
get on it.
Watch this space.
What would it be? Maybe can you think of anything random off the top of your head what it might be? So if people come to this in a few months' time. Put him on the spot.
Yeah. Completely on the spot, no. I mean, I'd be tempted to go with something like Captain Awesome, but and considering I've just lost the game, that might not be appropriate. So
Captain Awesome's fine.
I will rethink that and watch this space.
I did take a load of photos of this game, so if you do want to see more photos, please go to the Facebook page and have a look at those out. Leave a comment. If you have any specific questions for these guys, go to the Facebook page and under the photos, ask your questions. If you want to paint colours or if you want to know their list, then go from there. All that remains to say is I really hope you're enjoying the website. Hopefully some of you by now have got yourselves a t-shirt or some dice or some free stickers. So if you would like any of those items, please go to the Facebook page, or you can send me a private message on the email below and we can get you in touch with them. I've got the grey with red writing, but the majority are black with red writing. So if you want one of those, we can sort you out for a small cost. Gents, again, thank you so much. Awesome game. Awesome armies.
Thank you. It was
pleasure.
really good.
Good.
Brilliant.
We will see you in the next game.